played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff. The motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Here today, the VRX World Cup Series is going to come live from a 1.5-mile D-shaped oval. In Illinois, they know two things: road courses and going fast. But here tonight, we're back to the original setup from where it all began in Chicagoland. Live from the virtual Joliet, Illinois Chicagoland Speedway, it's VRX World Cup. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper. Alongside me here tonight, I have Justin Prince up in the booth. And Justin, I tell you what, here tonight, it's going to be one of those D-shaped cookie cutter tracks that Chris Hodges, taking over the lead, has a good chance of getting a victory, the first one of the season.
Yes, indeed, especially when it comes to a racetrack tonight. Lots of expectations as we get to the closing stages for the championship. Just 3 races to go, including tonight's action, to say the very least. Already, drivers have had a lot of discussion about the speed entering this evening, about who's going to be able to find their way to victory lane, who's going to be able to try and grow the points gaps, and then some. Christopher Hodges, after all, amongst those looking solid entering tonight. That gap 15 points over Richard Hurst, James Wagoner, Casey Ellis, and Chris Phillips, your top 5. The last time out, though, was Michael Howerton, who showed good speed all year but has not had the best of points runs, who was able to get his first victory off the fuel mileage, Bradley, at Watkins Glen. We'll see how he does tonight from the tail.
Yeah, and a few drivers got into that window where they were burning more fuel, whether it was the line or how they were running that racetrack, not really sure, but they had to come down early, and that handed the lead over to Howerton at the very end, 3 laps to go. So the first victory of the season there, and he picked a fine time to do it as we get into crunch time. 15-point lead there for Hodges, and in my personal opinion, if he can have a good race here tonight, this could set him up to almost seal the deal for these last 2.
But with that being said, we are at Chicagoland, as you were talking about. It is a later evening into the darkness type race tonight at the circuit. Mile and a half here at Chicagoland, but it is one of the more distinct mile and a halves that we're talking about. This is the racetrack on the iRacing service in from real life where you're always constantly turning left.
Yeah, the whole back straightaway, completely curved. The banking here, 18 degrees, 11 in the front, but that back stretch, you're almost always turning left at this racetrack, and when you find yourself turning right, it's probably out of turn 4 because you got too high up into the marbles or you came off too low and touched that apron. So drivers will have to be careful. Passing here, not too bad. And multi-groove racing, there's been a few races since the update that I've been able to witness, and it's pretty dominant in the middle to high section of this racetrack.
So drivers are just about all set. The warm-up session coming to a close. Let's take a quick look at the race analysis. A reminder, tonight's distance 125 laps with the fuel capacity at 75%. Expect pit stops at least twice in this race. 3 tire sets available in turn for the race in the pit lane, 4 total including those in the car, 2 green-white checkers, 1 faster pair in this fixed setup race. That being said, the drivers have already completed the warm-up session. The Carpe Diem pole award up next. That's presented to the fastest driver in qualifying for each event, with prizes donated for this season, including custom glassware and keychains. I'd like to thank Carpe Diem for its support this season in presenting the drivers a variety of personalized items, the VRX World Cup. If it's a moment with a loved one or a memory captured throughout life, find the perfect custom item to match it from Carpe Diem Creations. Chris Phillips was the quickest qualifier in the course of 2 laps, 5 minutes. 30.072 is good enough to start on the pole tonight. The VRX World Cup from Chicagoland. So as the drivers get themselves rolling for the pace lap, let's take a look at the starting grid. Start alongside Jeffrey Hunter on that front row. Row 2. One of the drivers to watch, Christopher Hodges. So far, yet to get a win, but he's been Mr. Consistency. 5 top 10s in 5 starts coming in. Bill Daniels alongside. Kevin Mulcahy starts off in the 5th position. He'll start alongside the 707 Gen X Racing driver of David Collins. Row 4, Benjamin Richards will drive the green 56 alongside Casey Ellis. Ellis looking for points, 32 back coming in. Rounding your top 10 starting positions, William Brennan in the 64 and Brian Hennings in that 74 machine looking to try and scoot ahead from 10.
11th spot's going to belong to Jeff Scott with James Wagoner in 12th position. Richard Hurst second in points here. He's going to start in 13th with Greg Pillar in the 90 in 14th. 15th spot goes to Mama Teresa in the 70 machine. Logan Watering after a decent finish there last week in 16th. 17th belongs to Daryl Aronson and 18th Mike Chivers. Rounding out that top 20 is Luke Rakowski, Shane Gunter in 20th.
21st spot going the way of PJ Cox tonight. Then it's Jared Epker, 22nd. He, however, did not make it in time for the starting grid due to a tech issue before the green flag. Joseph Fagioni starts off 23rd alongside Greg Spiker. He'll start from the pit lane after missing the starting gridding procedure. Rounding out the field tonight, Edward Fiddler will start 25th. Jimmy Sox was the last to set a qualifying time with a 41-second lap time, 11 seconds off the pole. And Michael Howerton, this is a big note, will start at the tail. He had a lot of technical issues during the qualifying session, so he'll start 27th. As we get set to go racing here, your keys to win tonight, Bradley.
Well, it's going to be who can utilize the most lines. If you can run that bottom, save some fuel, save some tires, you'll have a better time. But if you can get on that outside early and get some positions, you might find yourself up in the top 5 quickly. Anybody outside that top 10 right now, they're going to be looking to do that.
Who's your favorite and why?
Right now, I'm going with Hodges. He's been dominant on these mile and a halves. He's not really going to win or, present himself early, but I could say that here tonight, it's going to be another one of those consistent races.
Chris Phillips in control. We're glad to have you with us for coverage of the VRX World Cup. iRacing's virtual Chicagoland. Green flag is out. We're racing from Illinois. tech issues for the race leader, Chris Phillips. Believe it's in second. Christopher Hodges able to make the move after Phillips had issues through the gears. But already, Christopher Hodges driving in the Western Kentucky University colors, looking to run away.
Well, he's having some tech issues as well. Wow.
Yeah, that is not good.
That was a tech issue in itself. You see the hood fly up on that 34 car, and he was still going $190.
Race Control has warned the 34 that if it continues, it may be forced to go to the back of the field. So he plays the draft for now, and on cue, he immediately has problems. I was about to say, before tonight, he did try and change things up on the scheme, try and go the meme style when it comes to Big Red, the mascot for Western Kentucky.
Hodges is out.
Yeah, unfortunately the meme does not work. Caution, and it's in the back. 51, Daryl Aronson running 18th around. Contact with PJ Cox.
Well, this is actually what Hodges needs to happen if he wants any chance here tonight. I picked him as a favorite, and he's having problems right out the gate. But his camera froze up. He's completely out of the session, and the 51 car spins out. I don't know if it's related or not.
So EOL 51 car, Aronson still has a meatball for the leg regardless. One of the things that can happen here, very tight off corner exit. It got tight and it swung.
Yeah, that was a little loose there and got back up into, I believe that was PJ Cox in the 05. We'll ride on board with him here. Got up into the wall. They both kind of followed each other up there, but Cox still had a run, and unfortunately both of them get looped around. That's caution number 1 of the night. But checking back in with Hodges, he's back out on the racetrack here.
Yeah, this is a confusing one because his technical issue was so strong, he's still having it, by the way, that he lost a lap and was put into a wave around spot, basically, because no one knows where he is on the track. Race Control is warning him because of how bad it is. Yeah, he's going to very likely have to stay at the back. Pit stop time for the rest of the field.
Yeah, I'm looking at Fielder and Spiker, a few others. Shane Gunter coming down as well. But yeah, it looks like Hodges back out on the track again. He cut his camera feed entirely, so maybe that will help it clean up. But Phillips up here, I mean, he didn't really pass for position. He just kind of inherited this lead after all the technical issues that have been going on up front. Is it too late for me to pick another favorite?
Yes. EOL, car 34, Race Control, has just been asked by the 34 team to keep an eye on it for the driver. So now, that being said here, with the time of the caution flag, only a couple laps turned here, so a couple top-offs for Britton, Richards, Gunter, Sox, damage repair for Cox, and Fiddler, Aronson, fast repair, but also an EOL penalty. So a little bit of strategy already, thinking about how things could play out with there being such a quick caution.
Yeah, and here at this 1.5 miles, fuel strategy definitely coming into play, and that's why I said running the bottom of this racetrack could be the secret sauce that you need. If you can save enough fuel and run this out, we got 75% fuel here tonight. If you can stretch that run as far as you can, and this race goes green, you can be in a great situation on tires.
So as we continue to pace so far, among some of the drivers who were able to slice their way through, by the way, a car to watch tonight, can Michael Howerton recover from his technical issues? He's already up 10, by the way, 27 to 17. And it's kind of surprised he's not really in the conversation for the championship, knowing he's been solid on ovals all year. It's just the difference, it seems, of can you be there to get the top 5s and 10s? He's only got 2 top 10s at the end of races, despite being usually up front.
And I think Howerton's more of that longevity driver where he saves his stuff, and as the runs progress, he'll be in a situation there at the end. But we've had some caution-plagued races that don't really fit that driving style, and so if you're guys like Howerton or even Waterin or Pillar, these guys seem like they're drivers that if we have a long green flag run, will find their way up on hitting pit road at the right time or just saving their tires in general. So I'm interested to see what would happen if we go green here tonight. We're already going to be about 10 laps in when we take the green for the second time.
So all set for the restart. Phillips in control, McKay in second. Hunter, Hurst, Scott, Daniel, top 6 heading to Wegener. Teresa Spiker is in the top 10. David Collins rounds out the top 10. How about Mama T so far?
Yeah.
Able to pick up a few spots.
Started back in 15th, picked up 5 of them in just that short little run we had. Keep an eye on that 70 machine. I know that this is one of those tracks she favors, and I know that with the multi-groove racing, you're not really penalized for running, up high, up in the middle of the racetrack. Hopefully that pans out, works in her favor as this race goes on.
Well, there was I think full jokingly, bounty offered before the race by Race Control. $8,500 in Monopoly money for Teresa Spiker. So Race Control has confidence in the 70 tonight. All while Chris Phillips has the love pedal in hand. Green, green, green.
Well, we're just happy to get this thing back going here, and I'm happy that the left-hand side of your screen is populating with the drivers. We had some technical issues these past 3 weeks, and so now we actually have a full list of drivers on that left bottom side. I love to see it.
Phillips loves to see single file at least in front of them. In fact, nobody in front of them should say. But it is starting to build up near side by side behind him. Jeffrey Hunter already back to second. Not a good restart. Wants the side by side though. Jeff Scott alongside Bill Daniels fighting for the top 5. Here's a look for the bumper of the leader.
Actually, off the back of Jeffrey Hunter, I thought I was on the leader there for a moment. He was all over the back bumper of Phillips. Top 5 single file out. There's a little bit of battle back here with Hennings. And to the inside now of James Wagoner. That's for the 7th position.
A lot of side by side, including now the race lead. Jeffrey Hunter is alongside. There's the battle box for 6th on back. Already the fight starting to scrap about. A lot of drivers preferring to wrap the bottom in the early going. You can use the top we've seen over the years. Most of the field try to save tire. Hunter losing ground as the bottom didn't work for a pass for the lead.
Yeah, and you saw Hurst get up there on the outside, and he got such a great run there off of turn 2, able to complete that pass. And now Hunter falls back to 3rd. Mulcahy all over the back bumper as they go into 1.
Currently a choo-choo train forming at the bottom of the racetrack. Now the chance is building up for the top 4. Nobody wanted to really make a major set quite yet. It is worth noting that drivers like Mama T starting to hold on to the edge of the top 10. Mike Chipper, Idris Amatsto's moving ahead. The Bad Dad looking to try and find a way around James Wagoner. And a check up at Q.
Yeah, that was a big check, actually. Mama T, good heads up driving to not get into the back of the 5, but that run coming out of 4, Chivers didn't have anywhere to go with it. Now he's going to do it again here on the outside down the backstretch. You got to watch out for that wall as he goes into 3.
You can definitely get why he's just checking instead of trying to make the move. But at the same time, you can only check so many times before somebody doesn't get the signal that there's a checkup.
Yeah, and you're putting a lot of faith in drivers around you when you check up like that. You see the battle starting to heat back up for 2nd position. Hunter gets back to the outside of the 21. They look really loose down this backstretch, Justin.
Extremely slidey in some parts, extremely
contact.
pushy for a slide. There's Hurst, Scott, and the rest of the field stacks on in for a crash. a big one on the front straightaway. We're under yellow again. At least 7 to 8 cars in it. A couple more trying to join it.
There's Momentee down there in the grass. She's involved. This happened way after the fact, but the 35 machine of Ellis got tagged somewhere along this line. Let's get back on the instant replay and figure out exactly how this all unfolded.
Offset 3 wide as there's a look at where the biggest of the contact started to step for the front stretch. The trigger, 21 trying to go for second. Contact from Mulcahy.
Like the 90s involved. Ellis after the fact. 1, Wadron. Back at it one more time here. There's a contact with the 21. Those guys all spinning around. Find a hole. He almost found it.
And then he bounced off a wall. That ended up being a car instead. Now, cause of caution being given to Air. Black flag fetch the only of this caution. Daniels meatball flag, Scott meatball flag, Pillar meatball flag. Here is Momentee.
I mean, unscathed, but then spins out down here in the grass, very slippery. Able to get it regained on the traction. Thankfully, no damage there. But tough start to this race, and looks like Spiker will end up resuming her position in 6th spot. With the black flag going. Is that the? I guess I lost track of the number of that car that caused that.
Again, they gave no car the fault for the caution because they say there was air involved. If that's fully disclosed, and those who are in the know what error can be substituted for in terms of the world of internet. That being said here, a lot of drivers now have to get a lot of repairs done with the timing of this caution flag. Casey Ellis amongst those coming down the pit lane this time by. Several more. Really burning up the tires, and the more they slide around like that, if you're amongst the stack-ups, the worse it can get for the race, since you can't just pit every time there's a spin or a crash. You have to fight it out after heating up the tires significantly on a slide.
Yeah, these tire sets are limited here tonight. They've been limited all season long, and you got to pick and choose. You got to be really cautious because you could come down, burn all your tire sets. You know, we've seen drivers that get involved in accidents repeatedly, and by the end of the race, they have no tire sets left, and the race will end up going green for a long stint. They fall behind, so you got to be really careful. Plan that out accordingly.
So again, as we work under caution, sort things out amongst the field. Taking a look at some of the others, trying to sort out where they need to be. Drivers like Howerton and a couple others in the checkup game. You know, an interesting storyline that popped up in the service, though, with the update. Did you know that technically the unofficial name of Benny the pace car driver was not the real name? How do I phrase this? iRacing officially gave the pace car driver a official name. His name is now Fred, according to iRacing, in tribute to Fred Jones, the legendary iRacing driver from its early days and from its predecessor, after previously being, you know, a mystery solver.
Well, there's no mystery who's behind that wheel. Fred's done a great job all through this service. I'd like to know the statistics on how many miles are actually on that iRacing Mustang. Just to get a fact, I know they have a lap counter with how many laps are turned per day, and it gets up there in the high millions. So I'd like to know how many miles are on this car. If it ends up on Craigslist, I'll know to avoid it or purchase it.
Yeah, I think its blue book value might be somewhere around $1.
Yeah.
I mean,
but it's never
for
been
sale.
wrecked.
Yeah, that's the bright side. In fact, it's indestructible, as
They've
some will
tried.
describe. Yes, so many people have tried. But right now, Chris Phillips leads the way. He's amongst the several yet to pit. In fact, So far, about 10 or 12 drivers yet to come down to the pit lane. Green flag is out, back underway. Hunter with a poor launch. Mulcahy looking for a way to get the second already.
It was a great launch there for Phillips. He's able to work his line and run it all the way up to the outside into one. Side by side back here for second through fourth position. Here comes Mulcahy on the bottom. The 74 of Hennings on the outside, looking like he might pick up third spot now as they go into three.
Already the bottom line showing to be the best line. It's not even to stick that line in turn. Mulcahy from the bottom makes the pass in the top three. And just like that, two drivers are all running inside the top five and just about there, I should say. Howerton and Hodges are both moving. A warning to the five. Failure to maintain pace distance to car in front. That's the second warning for failing to maintain speed on a start or restart today.
We saw a little turbulence back there with the 56. Benjamin Richards looked like he hit that outside wall coming down the backstretch. Got it sorted back out, but back up here to the 34 car. That guy's on a mission right now. I know he just came back from technical issues. Whatever it was is cleared up. But he's already almost to the top five, and we're only 21 laps in. He went all the way to the back. Oh, car in the wall, that's watering. Or no, Chivers.
Chivers on his own, heading the wall down a straightaway. Now Mike Howerton says, you know what, I'm going to take the high side instead, make the pass. Hodges tries to use the apron. Michael Howerton making the swap. Some side-by-side also for second. Mulcahy has retaken that spot as well. Mama T is taking spots too.
Back on the move here for the 70 of Spiker. She's moved up 3 spots now. Up 8 positions from where she began the race. Offset 3 wide here in the 3 and 4, but that high line seems to be working well for a few of these drivers.
So already 23 laps in at the stripe this time by. Looking on board, this is the battle for third.
Oh, contact.
Hennings getting some rubbing. Mulcahy hit the apron. And now Michael Howerton able to jump up a spot as well. The 5 of Chivers has significantly damaged the right front fender. That 5 about to have to reach the struggle bus soon.
Bad Dad bouncing the wall here quite a few times. You can see the right-hand side of that 5 car has heavy damage. For every lap they do that, you can see it starting to wash up the racetrack again. Howerton going to stick it to the outside, and Hodges has to dodge the 5 because he wasn't expecting that move. Now gets a spot out of it, up to 6 now.
Big Red nearly taken for a big ride. Oh, that's while Teresa Spiker getting shuffled. William Brennan moving ahead as well. Side by side again for second. Hennings, Hunter alongside Mulcahy. Waits for the popcorn seat. A lot of drivers are having a tough time getting the arc down, it looks like, to get to the white line, should say. Howerton trying to take advantage of the line.
Yeah, it looks like they're really loose on entry, and we'll go on board here with the 52 car. We'll go into turn 1, washing up the racetrack a little bit, almost into the 818, but still on board here with the 52 car. And watch this entry. It looks like it's really shallow, and these cars are moving around a lot.
Starting to get very slidey for those coming on from the transition for the apron. Now William Brennan, who started a bit into towards the pack, is up to the top 4. He's the fastest car on the track. Last time by 3/10 quicker than the leader. He was amongst those who topped off during one of the cautions already. So he's got a bit more fuel, but no difference on tire set. Unless he pit for a tire set early, I should say.
Yeah, looking at this stint here, he was 5.8 in the box, so he should be just a fuel-only stop. Came in, topped off. Howerton now gets around on the outside for the 4th position. That 15 car of Hunter about to go 3 wide here. He's falling quickly.
So speed starting to become prevalent in differences. Benjamin Richards amongst those fighting with Howerton. All that's well, the battle for second is about to intensify. Same for the battle for 4th. There's the second place fight. There's a look at fourth place already. 4 car lengths. The difference between them is Howardson gets turned. Benjamin Richards helps the 52 around.
Oh, wow. Gunter barely.
Caution flag is out. Michael Howardson turned around, corner exit.
I'd say he was getting loose there on the exit of 2, and the 56 helped him finish it off there. At least that's what it looked like from the onboard. Let's go back and watch.
Oh, this is going to be a very interesting one. Pretty obvious where the contact stemmed from.
Did throw a little bit of a late block, but a little tag there, another little tag there, and just, yeah. I guess Richards didn't like the block.
Is that a block, though? More so than just running your line? Trying to get the arc?
I don't know. It's from the 56 point of view, maybe felt like it was a block, but from the 52, I have to say that's just running your line. I mean, you're clear, so you can come down. Let's go on board with Shane Gunter here in the 22 car. He's just a victim of circumstance.
Might have been able to avoid it, but target asphyxiation. Yeah, ends up causing significant contact, and that gives himself a meatball flag.
Down pit road, we got quite a few drivers, and actually the 56 decides to stay out, but the 6th car is down pit road, so Phillips, the leader of that stint, he's led 28 laps of the 30 completed. 28 car going to win the battle off of pit road, it looks like.
Daniels
Bill
wants to
Daniels
top.
take over.
Yeah, he topped off. He took tires previously, remember, for one of the big air incidents, but Phillips did get the edge with the first pit box. Phillips on fresh tires. Yeah. Now, EOL penalty to Richards. The 5 had too fast entering the pit lane, so the 5 to the tail. With the EOL penalty, that 56 car should not be keeping the track position by the end of things. In fact, well, outside of saving the tire set, not much you can do except say, I was the leader for a split second.
Yeah, and situationally, you know, staying out, I guess you probably should have just came down pit road, but, you know, saving a tire set could pay off at the end of this race. We still got a lot of racing left to do. Well over 150 miles here tonight. I'd have to say, let's see what Richards has for him. We've seen Hodges, we've seen Spiker, we've seen Howerton all race up through the field several times here. And I wouldn't count him out just yet.
And there he goes, dropping to the back with a 1 to go signal. So to the tail goes Richards for a caution. Chris Phillips, he's in prime position to try and run away, but he does have pressure. William Britton, start 4th. He is the next on fresh tires. Top-offs include Daniels and PJ Cox. Now remember, Cox was involved in the first caution of the day. That's where some of that off-cycle can come from for the 05 with the tire sets. Also amongst the top-offs this caution, Teresa Spiker had a 9.5 second stop. Likely more so 2 tires, but that is still going to be in the heart of the field for Teresa. What's that for the restart? Lap 32 coming up from the restart zone. Green, green, green. Phillips with a good launch, and Britton is boxed in.
Daniels here has already burned a fast repair, so he's going to have to be careful. Also, just to top off, it looks like with 6.5 in the box. This is going to get crazy back here from third on back as they're already almost 3 wide as they go into 3.
Britton saying, I've got to go. Inside for second. Now it's 3 wide with a car with a bit of a technical issue. And Daniels able to clear, and here comes Christopher Hodges again. Now, here's the one thing you can understand. Correct me if I'm wrong, do you still have a camera feed from him?
I do not. I do not have a camera feed.
Bradley, I hate to break it to you, but your camera feed was the reason for the technical issues. Since he turned it off, they've settled down.
Yeah, looks like that was the issue, and unfortunately, you know, it caused a situation. We can't be entirely responsible.
For the race lead, William Brennan looking to the inside. He has been on fire all race long. He is the fastest at this point of the run. He looks inside. Phillips still with a better run outside. Here comes Hodges.
And it almost sounds like they're wide open in the entrance of these corners. You see the car kind of dragging the racetrack, maybe helping slow that thing down just enough to where they can hold it wide open, but you can see the momentum gained on the outside from doing that. 15 of Hunter now to the outside of Hodges. Henning's all over the back bumper. Hodges tags the apron. He's going to open up the door for 3 more cars. There goes the 21 now of Hurst to the outside.
Remember, this is the high downforce, low horsepower package near trouble. A slide for Jeffrey Hunter. He trips around, uses all that downforce. 3 wide. Hurst gets through. All that as well. Hodges loses even more time a bit from that. As the race leaders continue to scrap it out, everyone else third on back is having a fun time trying to hold on to the cars.
6-car Phillips snuck back by while we weren't watching. He takes over the lead here on lap 36. Coming out turn 1, he got to the outside, got a good run on Britton. Britton did get to lead a lap, but it was brief. A lot of lead changes, but this top 10 has spread way out.
We'll see how long that lasts, but for a lot of drivers like Daniels, who used the set early, many more, they are struggling. Others like Jeff Scott involved in trouble. Gunter Amonso's already having to take a fast repair. He's already got additional scuffs on that 22 car. He's really scuffing up that paint in places that are surprisingly covered in scuffs, including areas he hasn't even hit the car with yet.
Well, that's okay. We get pretty good budget here at V-Speed. We can paint that car again as long as he keeps it up there in the top 10.
Wait, you still use paint on that car? I thought it was supposed to be a wrap.
Oh, no, we buff it, you know, make it more aerodynamic, as fast as it can be.
Looking at the leaders, though, Phillips still up front. Like usual, these Gen 6 cars with the high downforce, low horsepower package bottom out a lot. You'll notice around the front noses, all around the center of them, there's a lot of bottoming out. These drivers are getting very close to the edge with how they're taking these bumps to nearly making damage to the splitter.
Watch on board here with Phillips, the sparks shooting off the back of this machine, hitting the front end of William Britton. But you can hear they're wide open all the way around this track right now, and I'm interested to know how many laps they can do that, because if this package on this car is allowing them to go the entire run, it's practically a super speedway. And as you can see, 8th position on up hasn't left each other. It's almost a draft pack style restrictor plate race.
Max speeds right now near 190 miles an hour, going to 177 in the corners, we can tell you. The fall off already 4/10 compared to the early going. So a lot of these drivers, though, have to start, at the very least, you'd think, have to at least let it burp the throttle, get off the full throttle for a bit to be able to plant it for the corner.
On board here with Daniels, looks like maybe the fuel-only pit stop didn't pay off. Tires seem to be so important. He's about half a second off of the leaders right now as far as lap times go. Doesn't look like it's panning out very well, but we'll still have that extra set 42 laps into this race. Based off what we're seeing right now, tires are going to be important. 74 gets a tag from the 64 down the exit of turn 2, almost sends it.
Immediate apologies on the radio for that contact, by the way. No hard, no foul, they said on the radio. William Britton got the worst of that bit of contact. Hurst trying to take advantage, might actually have a good shot at the battle for third here if he's able to clear by 2.
Got really tight there on the inside. Thought he was going to get the pass, but lost it.
Not able to make that move as you see that VR headset in the bottom corner. He's looking a lot towards his left, it's worth noting, so it looks like he's keeping an eye on that little mirror, if not in terms of some of the stat box to see, is Jeffrey Hunter and company about to make a move on me?
They peeked to the inside a couple times there, but it doesn't look like the run's really happening for...
Oh, trouble, William Britton. Britton's in the wall. Britton, he's losing ground. And somehow he didn't damage the car, but he does seem to be really burning the tires up. So Britton, good on short run, not now.
That's reverted back to what we saw earlier with Hennings working his way towards the lead. 64 car was the fastest. Now it's between Phillips and Hennings for the lead spot. That lead chips away. It's down to 2/10 now.
Now for Hennings, he hasn't gotten a win yet. The key word is yet, because when you look at how he's done on tracks like this, he's been solid for good reason. Fourth at Iowa comes to mind. He finished second at the Glen.
He had a great race at the Glen. And really, based off time, he's really tight here into the wall. That dirty air, this package, so aero dependent. You get into that bubble and it's easy to overdrive it. There's the air.
Yeah, he's going to have to be extremely careful though. It almost looks like it's getting to the point where they're pushing the edge of the envelope, so to speak, of the speed so much that they're just about crumpling the envelope into a paper ball.
Yeah, they need to lift a little earlier into these corners if they want any shot. You see the 74 push up the track again. I'd say the wide open throttle is pretty much done now. As you see the top two have split away, but they can get reeled back in really quickly if they're not careful.
Phillips now getting a side draft though. This time Hennings took a peek. They changed lanes this time. Phillips going defensive. They do have lap traffic approaching. So they will have to start dealing with the back of the field pretty soon. Hennings starting to shuffle. Now, the interesting thing when it comes to Chris Phillips is he's missed a race. However, when it comes to that 6 machine, he's had his most starts at a speedway. So we can say, statistically speaking, average finish on speedways, second. After all, Phillips got a win once at Kansas already. A similar shaped track.
Yeah, very similar track. Similar to Las Vegas and Charlotte. And really, any of these mile-and-a-half tracks that you want to come to, as long as you're able to figure out where your off point and your lift and going into the corner and then where you're able to stab the throttle. Right now, it's kind of a toss-up. Seems like that wide open, kind of confusing drivers. Pass for the lead. Hennings back to the inside. He actually has the nose here down the front stretch.
Side by side yet again. Hennings works on the send. And Hennings yet again. Too tight to make a pass low side.
It seems deceitful in 1 and 2. He's a lot faster in 3 and 4, and I think maybe able to run it a little more wide open, but 1 and 2 is just pushes all the way up, washes almost to the wall, and there's a car there, so he can't come up anymore. He has to lift out of the throttle, and that's broke his run 3 times now. Racing going on back here, though, for 3rd through 8th position. There was Britton. He now has Hurst on the outside. What a move there by Hurst.
And what a hit by Hurst. Yet again, pancaking the wall. Hurst able to avoid significant damage this time. But Britton wants to go. Problem is, we've already seen drivers like Britton and many more just outright destroy the right front tire and it just seems like it just sails once it exits the corner, as you were talking about.
Yeah, you see him down here on the bottom, but he's going to have to lift out of this throttle. He is not going to stick that line, and now that opens up the door for the outside. Wagner not able to take it, but you know, the top 10 right now, they're all struggling with the same thing. As soon as they get to the inside, they can't do anything with the run. 3 and 4 seems like the place that they're going to complete it on the bottom. That's where it's going to be.
Now Hodges amongst those in the midst of this. You also have drivers like James Wagoner. Wagoner averages about a top 10 every time of the 1.5 miles so far this year. So right now, Social Outcast Racing trying to show some speed. More contact to the wall again for drivers in this pack. Nearly contact again with Hunter shuffling the line.
It's looking like it's going to be tough to pass here tonight. And it's a little unexpected because the racing that I saw here, as we see the battle for the lead heat back up, the racing that I saw last time on V-Speed, it seemed like these guys were able to run 3 or 4 different lines. It could have something to do with the weather and the transition to nighttime. Oh, contact!
Trouble! Oh my goodness, for the race lead, Chris Phillips turned. Brian Hennings in the grass. The top 2 wreck into turn 3. And here comes the pack. A big run for Richard Hurst. Hurst takes the point. Brennan forced to check up as he goes to second.
Oh no. You're telling me that happened for the race lead?
In the middle of the green flag run, yes. Race control already reviewing what just happened. We stay green. Close the battle got, and then this.
That's a tough call.
They're saying air was a factor in this one. We stay green. It's worth noting, race control just said they were about to take a nap. Now it's time to wake up. It's a crash. Richard Hurst into the wall. Caution flag is out. More sliding around. Nearly full throttle into it was Benjamin Richards. And, oh my goodness, that's Michael Howerton full throttle into it.
Wow.
Wow. Okay, let's take a look at this a couple layers.
Yeah, Hurst had already got turned. He hit the outside wall coming out of 2, and he's just getting this thing turned back around. And I think Daniels moved out of the way here, and Howerton didn't see it. Back one more time.
Now here's the reason for the contact. And then, Howerton, for reference at contact, 146 miles an hour.
And that popped the engine. Well, there's the
Howerton's,
6.
yeah. Hurst and Howerton meet both legs, but I was about to say he just explained over the comms he was looking at his black boxes and did not see the turning around car. So, under yellow, pit stop time. There goes race control's nap.
Yeah.
Then,
I mean, Justin, we've seen a number of it here this season, and drivers just kind of getting phased. And I know that it's easy to get tunnel vision, as we've seen. There was a race, I believe, at Michigan where drivers just kind of didn't see it. We have a new rule here at VRX for every 12 incident points is a pass-through penalty, and they've tried to mitigate those situations, but how easy is it as a driver to get focused on that black box and looking at those relatives, or, you know, sitting there adjusting like, well, I know I have to pit, so I'm going to select my tires or turn off auto fuel. There's a million things you have to do as a driver just to race this thing that in a normal team, you'd have a pit crew and a crew chief that would be helping you out with all of that.
but the counterpoint, I think you could also make, on top of the fact You absolutely can have that happen, as we've seen Bradley in multiple leagues and for multiple drivers. It happens to a lot of people. The other point is that was a turnaround at the heart of the pack.
Yeah. Yeah, that. I mean, if you're Hurst, you got to kind of sit there and wait and let everybody pass by. You've already kind of lost the spots, and whether you were racing for the lead or not, you got to know that there's cars behind you, and you know, not to blame anybody in particular or forcing the hand, but there's just situations that you got to wait.
By the way, Race Control just clarified that rule you were mentioning is a road course only rule this season for VRX World Cup. So,
thank you.
It's worth. Also, Michael Howerton did have the faster pair in the bank, so he hadn't gotten the faster pair used yet. Well, the faster pair is now gone, so at the very least, he is still in the race. Downside, 2 laps down for the 52 machine as a result of that incident. So we are still not at the halfway point of this one. And so far, 20 drivers on the lead lap. The strategy roulette pops Jeffrey Hunter in front. He, Chivers, and Aronson are the only drivers this caution not to pit. Everybody else either topped off, took tires, or took 2.
And Jeff Scott topped off. Chris Hodges did take tires. So it looks like 5th, 6th position will be a little bit faster than these top runners up here. I'm going to be interested to see. I mean, these guys are lifting and tight. It's been about 10 laps and then it falls on its face. This setup is just not equipped. I think that based off these lap times, you're going to see the top 3 fall pretty quickly here.
Yeah, the fall off already was reaching near half a second a lap after about 10, 15 laps. Roberts getting all set to go. Race Control has told the entire field, please close the gaps. We are coming to green. That being said, those drivers getting ready for the green. Hunter, Chivers, Aronson, Scott. Britton, Hodges amongst your top 6. Sox, Gunter, Hennings, Mulcahy in the top 10. Again, we'll look to get ready to get back to racing. 65 laps on the board. There goes Fred. There goes Hunter on the green.
Jeffrey Hunter, a great start there. Almost looked like he second-guessed it when he took off, or he just hit the gear really quickly. But he spreads out 0.3 of a second into turn 1.
Britton amongst those already making aggressive moves in the heart of the pack. Although Hunter looks to run from the pack. 2 wide, a couple rows deep in the heart of it. Britton inside on some of the freshies. Hodges is already up to second and is looking for the lead next corner.
Yeah, that's what fresh tires can do for you right there, and Britton's on the same page. He's going to dive to the inside. 34 car going to try to get a lap lead here tonight after the technical issues. 34 car to the lead.
Nicely done for Hodges. Now he looks to try and run 3 wide with some of the drivers on old tires. And Scott forced up the middle. Bill Daniels did not want to go up there. Trouble in the heart of the pack. Jimmy Sox is up near the wall. We stay green as the 01 is able to avoid ping-ponging off the field.
We're looking at Bill Daniels here. He's got fresh tires as well. He's passing Jeff Scott. Those guys that just topped off or stayed out have already fallen out of the top 10.
That battle for the race lead getting interesting. Britton has taken the lead. He's brought Mulcahy with him. Hodges lets them both go. The top 4 look to try and pull away from the rest of the pack. The rest of the pack is 3 wide for 5th.
Oh, it's 65 into the 5. Almost saves it, but the 51's around. Yep, that'll do it.
That's the second yellow Aronson's been involved in today. And we're back under yellow.
Very aggressive here into 1.
All right, the 5 losing the top 5 here from the send, and then 3 wide for now, about 7th or 8th. Wow, that was a big miss at the bottom for the bottom.
Yeah, 65 looked like maybe he turned in a little early and got loose, or I have to ride on board with him to figure this out.
Cause a caution, if I heard right, was the 65. It is. EOL, Greg Spiker. Now, Spiker was the one who sat on the apron and in race control emphasized twice. If you go onto the apron, it's your responsibility to come up. That time, he didn't. It's not even that. It's just he pushed up in the middle of the entry. Too much speed from a shallow entry.
Let me go back one more time here and watch from the blip camera. You can see this car just shoot up to the outside. Not sure. Yeah, just not enough wheel into the entry of that corner. Maybe a little lift, but
Too shallow.
Yeah, it's been turbulent here on the bottom of this racetrack, and we've seen it with cars just running a natural line, by themselves and getting loose. So I think that shallow entry, it's bound to happen.
So with that being said, we're already past the halfway point. That's how much time has flown tonight. With that being said, it's time for the Thrustmaster Through the Field, presented by Thrustmaster. As we look and see how the top 10 breaks down here. Right now, your race leader at the top of caution, it's William Britton, leading his 6th lap last time by the stripe. He's followed behind by the points leader, Christopher Hodges. Hodges got his first official lead lap last run. Now, it's worth noting he technically had a lead. Problem is, he didn't get the technical working to a scored lead because, well, he was so invisible that cars couldn't see him for a lap. Enough said. Brian Hennings is in 3rd after starting in the top 10. He's looked solid again here tonight. Then in 4th spot, Chris Phillips from his first pole of the season. He's still in contention. He's one of the 4 fastest drivers you can throw into the conversation for the win. The next layer of those drivers is led right now by Bill Daniels. Daniels is in the 5th spot. James Wagoner has looked very solid tonight. Quiet run in 6th spot in the teal number 30. Then it's PJ Cox after starting 21st and being in caution 1. He's still up inside the top 10. Now the next spot is Shane Gunter. Now Gunter, remember, is amongst those in terms of 8.5 seconds in the pit lane last caution. So we'll see how long the 22 stays in that V-Speed car. We're out of your top 10. Kevin Mulcahy. Well, it was Mulcahy. It's been shuffled a bit because a couple EOLs for Greg Spiker and Company. So that's now shuffled Luke Rakowski up to 9th. And Mulcahy to 10th. You gotta love the shuffle that comes in very quickly. Hunter got shuffled all the way to 11th. Hence some of the said shuffle.
Now I'm interested to see, we've got some fresh tires that worked their way up front. You had Wagoner that got some damage repaired, but pretty much everyone 7th on up had taken 4 tires on that last stop. And Britton has been really fast on this short run. He found his way up here on that short run. Now it's a matter of, did he save enough to maintain this lead? Now 9 laps in, about 7 under green.
Now keep in mind, the drivers who pit this caution flag, several for 4 tires, a couple for 2 tires for an offset strategy, are about 10th on back. Mulcahy on back for the restart. So with about 57 to go at the stripe, because the 75% fuel limit, not expecting this to be the green light on fuel from here, but it's close.
I mean, if you're sitting here looking at strategy right now, the way this race has kind of went, you get a pretty decent run of about 15 to 20 laps, and then something happens. You see the setup fade really quickly. Do you gamble and stay out again? Save that extra set for maybe 20 to go?
It's a huge question. These 2 Fords, they've been blistering fast. Britton on the short run. Hodges has showed good speed from the mid-run. See how long this run goes. Get back going in. We've had a stack up before the restart. Casey Ellis just had some contact Field still getting queued up for the green. Green, green, green. Back underway. The middle of the pack still trying to sort itself out. The front of the pack, side by side for second again. Weird moment for Elazon back, but outside of that, Hodges still holds on to second with a good run to the corner.
There's Hiddings going to the inside of Phillips now for the third spot. That 1 and 2, that speed, not able to carry it. But you can see the drive in to 3 and 4 gives Hodges the lead off of the corner. The 6 all over the back bumper of Britton for third.
Another great start from the second place car. Hodges now looks to defend Britton. Oh, that's well. Phillips able to get a squeeze. Diamond line. Britton trying to get a side draft onto the fender. It seems like that draft pole is massive if you're in second for that race lead. Britton's been using that draft run to his advantage to get alongside for the lead like this. Side by side out of 4.
He's going to lead that time by just able to edge out Hodges, but now let's carry that into 1 and 2. Hodges has that preferred line being on the outside, but doesn't have the speed on the entry. He's lost a ton of momentum. Maybe saving the tires here.
Seen him try and save a lot. He isn't on that preferred group to save. All that's with Britton now under pressure because remember, Britton fell off hard after 10-15 laps the last time we had a sustained run. Chris Phillips was able to pick up some of those pieces. He's right now in position, Phillips is, to try and battle with the 64 here and now.
Going to get a good run off of 2. He's going to have the momentum down the back straightaway. He's going to dive it down to the bottom in 3 and 4. Nope, checks up a little bit. These guys kind of in conservation mode from that first run. Maybe they learned a thing or two. We'll have to wait and see. They know Britton. Oh, 74 contact into the grass.
Can he keep it held on to? Yes, he does. 3 wide still. Near contact above him. Hurst able to avoid the door check from Cox. Heading sent down there that time by Bill Daniels. That could have been much, much worse than what it ended up being. Oh, that's why the 28 is struggling now. A lot of side-by-side building up in this main grouping of cars. Third all the way back to about 7th or 8th side-by-side.
Hodges loose here coming off of 2. He gets wiggly in front of the 15 of Hunter and lose with Wagoner now. In the top 3, Britton, Phillips, and Wagoner in the 30. Side-by-side with Hunter and Mulcahy, the 21 of Hurst on the outside. Hurst almost gets contact with the 818.
Once again, Jeffrey Hunter amongst those slicing and dicing. He's amongst those already on a different pit strategy too. Hunter amongst those who took a little offset on tires. Remember, he wasn't on the same cycle because of how things are broken out with the cautious precautions. Race lead, side by side. Phillips now looking for his move. It's around the point he tried to make a move before. William Britton trying to get a crossover, makes a bump instead. Sparks fly.
Britton had the run for maybe a crossover, but couldn't go anywhere with it. He met him at the wrong time. Now to the bottom in the dirty air. They slide up. A lot of wash here on this race car. Everybody from second on back is sliding towards that outside wall as they exit.
Pressure tires. Currently 4th on back. Hurst going offset near 3 wide. Britton holds back. Wagoner gets loose in front of Hurst. Now they all scatter as Hunter tries to move up to 4th. Wagoner forced down to the inside. And you talk about aggression. Hunter's amongst those saying, I've got to go. It's only a small offset. He needs to go short run with this.
Yeah, he's got to use them on. He's got him. These passes on the outside are so difficult to execute. You see the 30 car washing up the racetrack. If you don't get clear of him soon, he can end up in your door, right in your lap. Hodges has fallen all the way back to 9th. Jeff Scott now, one of those cars that didn't pit on that last pit stop, now working his way back up into the top 10.
Some impressive runs here, to say the very least. Lap traffic is at the bottom of the racetrack. The top two at the least. Should say top one able to clear all the leaders, forced high side as the 51 of Aronson chose to stay at the bottom. Now, he did tell the field, I'm going to go down here, so they let him do that. Hunter says, thank you very much, I'm going to go high side after that move. And in turn, he's able to take advantage of the traffic, and in turn, able to take advantage to make the move.
He's going to pick up another spot. He's still got a little bit fresher tires. We're talking about 12, 13 laps here. Looking like it's working for him.
Coming up to lap 80 already in this one. 45 to go next time by the stripe. Hunter, the 8-lap difference on Strat. Amongst those also on the equal Strat, as mentioned, Hennings. You also throw Mulcahy into that mix. Here's the look from the 6. Phillips, seeing that gap being reduced massively every corner entry. Hunter also using the bottom line. Phillips is tight. Here comes Jeffrey Hunter for the lead.
I'd say the 15 lifted out there. The 6 car really didn't get a good exit on 4. This tire advantage is playing dividends right now. He just has to plan it accordingly. He's going to get a good run here off of 2 and probably carry that into 3.
Here he goes. Phillips loses the bottom. Hunter much higher up on the arc. Phillips forced up above the second seat. On some wobbles from Hunter, here comes Richard Hurst.
And Hurst has been driving like he had to burn that fast repair. They almost takes it 3 wide coming out of turn 4. He's going to have to be careful here because both these drivers are starting to use their stuff up. Hennings on the bottom, 3 wide now down the backstretch.
Hurst amongst those wanting points right now with the drop of Hodges through the field. Hurst in the driver's seat to try and get his points lead back. After all, he's looked solid at times on the speedways. Hasn't had the luck as of late at tracks like Kansas. Is luck going to smile upon him after the incident? We'll see. Now he's looking back inside. Brian Hennings, a slider for 3rd.
That was a close call there with Hunter. I think Hunter might have cut him a break there. He's going to dive it back to the inside in 3. And Britton now to the bottom of the racetrack. Resurging after that short run speed. He's going to try to take away 4th, but Hennings is ultimately going to get the spot. And how about Wagner back here? He's just sitting here quietly waiting for these guys to make a mistake.
Double front straightaway. Teresa Spiker turned around by Luke Rakowski. Greg Spiker also collected. So both the Spikers with broken suspensions were under yellow. And the replay might be interesting, to say the least. Rakowski also with the fast repair needed. Let's take a look. Somebody did say sorry here.
Like contact through the corner, we could pin that on the 70, but then the contact after the fact, plenty of room on the inside. I think Gunter had taken it down to the apron, but at the same time, a car is to the inside of the 033. They have to maintain that lane. Back it up one more time here.
Rakowski, EOL, because of the damage on his car. Race control deemed the incident itself on the air. But that being said, one of the more common ways you can get in a crash like that at this type of racetrack, drivers expect you to go down to the very bottom by at least near the middle of the tri-oval. When you don't go down, and you're not paying attention to the driver saying, I'm going to track up, that's what happens. You go middle, then track up, car track to the wall. So far, you were saying.
6 cautions, 11 lead changes here tonight. It's been a tough one. If you're trying to be a strategist here tonight with the limited tire sets, how do you pick and choose, Justin? Because there's so many varieties of cautions and instances where you can come down and play what you could, but you see the top 5 kind of stays out.
I can definitely tell you this, though. With under 40 to go, we're in the window for fuel the rest of the way. But 3 drivers are risking it. Hurst, Scott, Chivers. Now, with those drivers, it's worth noting, especially for drivers like the 5, they only have 1 set remaining. The rest of the way, it's kind of a forced strategy. It's not like drivers like Halverton obviously want to see. He is pinned a couple laps down because of this, but if you don't have the tires, you don't have the tires.
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't save them and you've used them every caution up until this point, now you're in a spot where 7, 8 different cars could best you on track position in the long run. And right now, if you're looking at fuel, this might be the window where you can pit and then make it to the end. So I don't know if staying out is the best call. We've got 21 laps, probably around 17 of them are under green here. If you're first right now, if you've got an extra tire set, save it. But outside of that, if you're just topping off of fuel, there's no reason to stay out.
Well, with the full fuel tank, you can get to 67 on a 1.5 miles like this. Kansas is really the exception because of the high line. However, remember, 75% fuel tank. What's 75 of 67? Around that near 50-ish lap mark. But with the cautions, it's almost to where I think it's to where the top 3 can make it. However, Bradley, if we get to green my checkers, might be a little bit touch and go for that top 3. That being said, if there's a caution in 20 laps after a long run, guess who gets fresh through tires in the field the rest of the way?
Yeah. I mean, strategy-wise, maybe genius, but you're relying on a lot of factors. And I don't know about you, Justin, but I like to make my own luck. And creating a scenario where you're gambling, well, let's be honest, it doesn't always pay out. And you can find yourself outside the top 10 very quickly based off of what we've seen with this fall off.
So for the first time today, the control car chooses the outside lane. Richard Hurst doing so this time. Jeff Scott second. Chivers and Daniels your top 4. Daniels, the first of those who came down to the pit lane this caution. Now for Daniels, appears to have been a drive-through, not a full top in. Then William Britton, 8.5 seconds. Phillips, 8 seconds. Tires for Hennings. Tires for drivers like Mulcahy. Top offs and or 2 for Wagoner. It's been a bit of a roulette in terms of strategy. This isn't Vegas, but these drivers are treating the strategy like they're in Vegas. After all, over 1.5 miles. Field tightens up for the restart. 37 to go in the VRX World Cup from Chicagoland. Richard Hurst in control. Green, green, green. Back to racing. And that inside line did not get lined up with the 21.
So right there, a big jump in the VR, maybe an advantage, being able to look in the mirror and see that they're not going down the back straightaway. 4 cars, nose to tail. Hurst has the work cut out for him. Jeff Scott, the only car on the older tires. Here comes William Britton to the bottom of the racetrack.
Those top 2 originally were teammates on that restart. Not top 2 now. William Britton looking with the pace. Britton looking, diving, checking up. All of that's while Hurst tries to block off the lines. Here comes Hennings. Hennings on fresh rubber. He's looking to launch himself to the moon.
He's got the rubber to do it. It's just a matter of can he have the time. Hurst on that older tire strategy. To the outside now for Hennings. What a run off of 4. Gonna carry that momentum into turn 1, and Scott still playing defense with Daniels. Pass for the lead, starting now.
Hennings wraps the bottom. Can he clear? Not yet. Hurst still with a little bit of fight, but the side trap. 3 wide on the apron behind with Hunter. Oh, that's wow. New race leader Brian Hennings official. Near contact in the battle for about third as Hunter tries to clear. Mulcahy gets boxed in. Daniels nearly makes contact. Near 3 wide, a couple rows deep as they ping pong. Here comes the bobble from Hunter as Mulcahy nearly makes contact with Daniels again. Somehow the field survives. Somehow it's Brennan in third. Brennan this time to the apron, to the grass, a slide. Brennan saves it, the rest of the field keeps it green. Jeff Scott damaged the front nose though. Hennings tries to run, everybody else 2 and 3 wide.
It's utter chaos back here, Justin, from 4th on back. These guys on old tires, new tires, top-offs. This car not handling, you can see them just weaving and bobbing, running up the racetrack, running each other out of room, almost 4 wide again.
All the different tire cycles, everybody trying to see and figure out who's on what, who's on which compound, how old are the tires. Here's Mama T. He's now bunched up behind the 22 of Gunter. Contact with the wall, trouble with Scott. And it's one of the biggest wrecks of the day. 4 or 5 cars crash. We're under caution again as another 2 or 3 slide in the backfield. And this is a big caution. To say the very least, this is huge if you have a set. You're speechless, I'm guessing?
Yeah, I'm trying to unpack all this because the 28 and the 38 get together here. But then I'm watching back here where a couple other cars get involved with it. This all happens right in front of Mama Teresa while we're on board. That looks like netcode there.
Definite error. And then Waterern joins into the fun. New paint scheme tonight.
Yeah, my V-Speed car got scratched. Again. Yeah, that's tough to say, and I know I backed it up a little too much here, but let's see if we can get a good blimp cam or something here. There's contact with the 56 and the 818. Everybody's been bouncing off of everyone. There's the 05 of Sox, or that was the 6. Everybody here right now is on a completely different strategy in the top 10. Watch this netcode here, Justin.
Yeah, that's a very big gap, to say the least on that. Yeah, that's the 5 that just punted the 1 to the grass, I think. Cars wrecked, check up. Oh.
There's a lot going on there. Waterern gets sent to the grass. I think there was about 5 cars indirectly involved with that. But while we were talking about all that happening back there, Brian Hennings had ran away with this lead. Now he's probably in the situation where he has no tires left, and it's going to be a little bit tougher.
And it's to where, too? The field still needs to sort itself on where everybody's supposed to be for the restart, I think. Because there's lap cars mixed in right now in the queue. Amongst the drivers who pit for another set or their final sets: Hurst, Sox, Phillips, Chivers. You also throw in Greg Spiker, Christopher Hodges, Joseph Vecchione, amongst the many who just used a set here. With less than 30 laps to go, you're talking about a potential difference of nearly 20 laps. Or rather, should say nearly 10 laps green flag racing and get back going, and we've seen the difference was pretty big before.
And the back half of this field has a good shot to race up through here. It's just a matter of, can they get clear and get around these cars with older tires, because you can see how much wash they've had in turn one. It might be a situation where they have to pace themselves, hope they can avoid whatever carnage lie ahead, because it hasn't been kind with 3 wide here tonight. They've somehow managed to do it a few times and get away with it, but this car looks crazy. If you're side by side in a 1, 3 wide, I don't think it's going to work out.
So with that being said here, how do you get it fully done? We've seen being in second's a huge advantage to trying to make a pass. That can only get you so far, though, where it's been difficult to finish the job for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, the only advantage you have is if you're on fresh tires. If you're up here in this top 10, you're all in the same set. Some drivers topped off with fuel. You're going to be into this spot where, yeah, you might have the momentum coming out of 4, but take it down to the bottom in 1, you're going to have to check up, and you risk losing 4 or 5 spots. You get guys with new tires up here on your outside, and it's going to be a freight train. So right now, if I'm looking at Hunter, you can get that run in turn 1 on the restart. That's probably your only chance, because outside of that, completing a pass, it's been impossible.
It's just about ready for the restart. Headings, Hunter, Mulcahy, and Cox, your top 4. Ellis and Pillar. Well, how about that for Greg Pillar? He was lapped at one point, mind you. He's at 6th after being one of the drivers being put in a spot where he already used a faster pair early, very early.
Kudos to him. He's staying out of trouble since that first one. This pace car is going to pull off, and let's find out for these next 28 laps as we go green.
Back underway in the top 2 teammates. Mulcahy synced up that time with Headings. Running quickly to the gears as it's too wide to much of the field. Headings trying to hold back his teammate.
How about Ellis here up into the top 5? Haven't talked much about Casey Ellis today, but up 3 positions. BJ Cox up 17 in front of him. How about Hurst coming back now? Almost 3 wide, peaks it there. They know they're low on time now. And if you're 10th place on back and you've got fresh tires, it's time to go.
Oh, that's well. Munzel's trying to go. Hodges underneath the 5.
Oh, Carl,
and what is
6?
Chris Phillips, a front runner all day. Now he's got a broken right front after a big bobble in the corner. We stay green. The field able to avoid the 6th as a shower of sparks in the corner. What a heartbreak for Chris Phillips. He's been fast all day. Remember how uptight and loose these cars can get. Might have just struck. Speaking of loose, your contact, Hurst off the gas. Nearly got into Hunter. Now the battle is on for the lead. Hurst looking for it. Hurst on the fresh tires, looking to use them now.
Doesn't quite have that drive out of 4, but I think he's going to get it here in 1. He's got the advantage. Going to be wide open here on the 818 to 15. There's the window now as they come out of 2. Can he hold it down there? The 15 car holds it down better and comes across the nose there for a second.
Next closest on strategy is Hodges. Hurst, if he wants to get this done and be able to dictate his own destiny, he needs to do this now. Looking for a move around Hunter. Big lineup on the draft to the outside for the lead. Hunter hits the wall. He turns Headings into the wall. Caution flag is out as the top 2 crash and they stack up even more in the corner. Stephen Hunter sent it. Problem is, no room from the high side. He hits the wall. And it's possibly the end of the chance for Headings.
bounced off that safer barrier right into the right rear of the 74 of Hennings. He didn't even know that was going to happen until it was too late. Hennings has got some damage on that left side. He walloped the wall pretty hard. See if we can get a different angle of this.
And there's the saying of peeling someone off the wall. He did that and then hit the wall.
I think that's the 01 that got into him after the fact. Jimmy Sox. 15 car, very damaged. One more time from the blimp camera again.
Jeffrey Hunter should stay, pardon, on that. The point still stands. You need to get to the high side to make the move.
Yeah.
If he doesn't make that if he didn't make the corner correction, he wouldn't have had the crash.
Yeah, he had the window there to fit it in. We're right on board. There's room here for him to do this move. It's just he got too close to that safer barrier.
Right? Here's the mistake.
Yeah. And Hennings didn't leave him much, but it was there.
Jimmy Sox, by the way, collected, and that did not pick up a meatball flag despite the hard hit. He did come in to take the repairs, though. So that changes the complexion of this battle, doesn't it? Richard Hurst has the top two wreck in front. And now coming up towards 20 to go. He's your leader. With this being said, let's take our first break of the whole race. Restart coming up. Post-race review for the battle. The battle for the win coming up after the break.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Welcome back, everyone, to coverage of the VRX World Cup here on V-Speed. Justin Prince alongside Bradley Cooper. Get ready for the restart. Under 20 laps to go. And what has been a night for some, and what could be a big moment for Richard Hurst. Hurst looking to battle with Christopher Hodges for the championship 1-2. Hurst behind Hodges entering tonight. He's in the lead. His counterpart on his tire strat is the 34 of Hodges. Hurst in control, off and away. All wow, Mulcahy tries to block off Hodges for second.
Doesn't look like the block worked. He got to the outside. Now down the back straightaway, it's going to be side by side. Here comes Britton. That window still open up on the high side. How about the 65 of Spiker in fifth? 3 wide behind him. Gunter in the middle.
A lot of different tire stints, cycles, differences of 10,
Oh,
15
10
laps,
cars
and there we
around.
go again. The 10 nearly does a barrel roll. Fagioni able to keep it on all fours as the caution waves. More contact for drivers like Waterer. And the drivers who just pit for tires, Luke Rakelski amongst those with significant damage on this caution.
There's 3 wide there with Gunter in the middle, and he just came out a little too low off of 4. The 10 car had a little bit older rubber and wasn't able to hold it down at the same time. It's just, you know, that's what happens when you have different tire sets. Guys don't know who's doing what. You put a lot of faith that they can stay down there.
Now, the reason Rakelski's meatball flag is there might need to be looked at again. There's the contact. Everything looks fine, and then if we can get a narrow look at the orange and black machine of Rakelski, he got popped after the caution by Hunter. Wreck is there. And then, wow.
Man, there was some turbulence here. You see Mama Teresa down there on the bottom. Look how fast these new tires are. With the 15 car, he lifts a little bit here. Yeah, runs into the 033 and
Yeah,
you gotta lift there. Caution's out.
a second penalty involving Hunter to be reviewed post-race. So, a lot to be said. James Wagoner, amongst those who also was able to get the fast repair at least, this yellow. But you know who this leaves standing on fresh tires? That leaves just PJ Cox and Teresa Spiker on the freshest tires in the field. Everybody else who pit the previous caution was for a fast repair. So if the 05 and 70 want to get a win this season, this is their time. They have to drive the best. This is the best. They need to drive the best they've ever driven now.
Yeah, we saw Spiker down there on the bottom, and PJ also just ripping through this field, and there's going to be a few cars in between them here, but it's going to group back up. Right now, with the way it looks, 05 a little bit faster, but they're going to be starting side by side. It's going to be a matter of who has the preferred line, and for around 10 laps to go, they have every opportunity to pick up the spots. They just have to time it right.
So, getting all sorted. Hurst, Hodges, Mulcahy, Britton, Greg Spiker, Pillar, Scott, Chivers, Gunter, and Sox your top 10. Race control has reminded the field with what's happened post-caution tonight that those are also a part of the penalty process, meaning you make contact after the caution, well, you can expect what can happen next.
Yeah, you're going to get a points penalty, or there's going to be pending review in the post race. And I know from hanging out in these discords that if you're part of the race, Stuart, you got a long day ahead of you when you have to go back and watch an entire replay and figure out every single thing that happened. but they take it very seriously. And if you think you're going to skate by, think twice, because these guys write everything down.
Lights are out. Hurst on the top again. So your top runners for the championship on the front row. Hurst with a big opportunity, but equal tires now for the 34, and Hodges has looked solid when he hasn't been saving.
Well, no reason to save now. You've got 10 to go, roughly. And might as well send it. You've got a lot of fresh tires there from 12th on back. You better go.
Also in the mix, William Brennan. He's been one of the best on short run tonight to get led laps. With 13 laps being the difference, short run might be the main thing you really need. Find out if that's the case. Lights completely in darkness here. We started when it was near dusk. Green flag is out. 13 laps to go from Chicagoland. And a pole walk for Hodges. Brennan alongside. Hodges just about clear already for second, however. Able to hold on to it.
Big
and
run
here comes the run. Here we go. Hurst fake the block. Hodges not willing to make the move yet. Caution. More trouble in the back. We're back at our yellow. Caution and review. Michael Howerton, Benjamin Richards involved.
52 car is done. He's got the right front toe and camber completely knocked out of that suspension. 56 was glued to him there on the wall. I'd say these two may be the culprits of this caution. We'll go back and watch, but they were glued together pretty heavily there.
Bill Daniels also involved. Of note, Daniels had contact before the start and finish line, and then it got worse right here.
Daniels actually blinks out midway through that turn. But watching here on board with the 56, or on top, I don't know. That looks like Daniels maybe came down a little early. They were 3 wide. I don't think Richards really had anywhere to go.
Incident cause the air yet again. Eventually, the air can get so many penalties in theory that it would be booted out of the stadium. I don't think you want to remove the air, but I mean,
No.
We're at that point where it is a legitimate conversation in the race room right now.
Yeah.
How do you? How do you? Do you want suffocation?
Maybe a stop and go for the air. Remind everybody that it exists. I don't know that this situation really warrants it, but turn it off for a second.
I don't know how to go about this other than, let's just say, technical things happen because, well, it's the wide world of the internet, after all. You also can't boot the internet out of the building, so you can't control the uncontrollables, as some will say.
Yeah, we've seen a number of those tonight where netcode, well, I said the magic words right there, the bubble that is surrounding these cars. And as perfected as the iRacing service has made it, it still is a factor. And if you think this is bad, look at any other service where we have simulation racing. This is pretty mild, and comparatively, they've done a phenomenal job. So we will never knock the iRacing service, but the frustrations that we have where you can get side by side with a driver up to, a millimeter, and then other times you're within a foot and they go sideways. It's sometimes hard to predict, and you got to give them that little extra room and just assume that it could happen at any time at this point.
Give credit to one more thing, the iRacing weather system that was debuted this past week. It's not as prevalent on the oval side, but I've already seen this a couple times, where if you look at the weather conditions, keep in mind, you can see the full forecasted weather still, even on the oval side. With that being said, the track temperatures seem to be responding a lot more differently on the oval this week compared to previous builds. In that the track temperature, if it's a caution, it takes out a lot of heat. If you have a lot of laps, it builds a little faster. It's almost to where they've adjusted that without saying that out loud. On the bright side, the radar's been clear all night. There's not a cloud on the radar despite being mostly cloudy.
Well, thankfully, we're able to turn that off. Maybe not the air, but the precipitation. We are able to control that on the iRacing service.
Well,
so
these Cup cars don't have rain tires.
that would be
yet.
interesting, wouldn't it?
There are rain tires for road racing for NASCAR stock car events. And there is that short track tire that's been being worked on and available as most recently as Bristol. But that's a different story over time. Because right now, this time, it's near restart time. 8.5 laps to go. Hurst this time choosing the bottom. So Hodges up top. Britton, we've seen him look aggressive on this run. Mulcahy is in fourth. Pillar, Greg Spiker, Jeff Scott, Chivers, Gunter, heading to amongst your top 10 of note. The drivers on some of the freshest tires did not make really any inroads there. Teresa Spiker is in 12th, PJ Cox in 13th currently. All set for the restart. Green, green, green. 8 to go from Chicagoland.
Another great start for Hurst. He pulls out. Hodges almost caught sleeping again. It's so tough to judge when that leader's going to go, and that allows Britton to the inside here, coming off of turn 2. Not a good run, and now the 818 from Mulcahy. I thought he was going to take it 3 wide. He's still playing both lines.
Going exactly how Hurst needed it to go to start this run. Britton trying to clear for second. Not able to get the clearing of the run needed. Here comes the run from Hodges, though. Hurst blocks both lines. Hodges looks outside. Hurst blocks it. Hodges forced to lift. Hodges the second.
And Britton did not get a good entry into 1. He allows the 818 of Mulcahy back onto his bumper. Cars moving to the bottom of the racetrack right now, deep in this field.
Caution.
Greg Pillar, and yellow flag is out.
And it's at the very back of the field. 23rd, 51, Aronson. Involved with 21st, 56, Ben Richards. The next restart will bring us under 5 to go. Significant damage to both of them. I believe Michael Howardson also picked up more damage from
That
from
51 just
previous.
came up.
Yeah.
You can't put that one on the air. I don't. That one's on the 51 there.
Second straight incident, should say, the 56 is involved in. Howerton still is on the pit lane for the previous one, but yeah, still is at full speed. They are calling this on the air again. I will just
we gotta
say,
park it. We gotta park the air. We gotta do it.
race control has half jokingly said, can we get a 0% air race? I mean, do you want to race on the moon?
Space in the vacuum. I mean, we're not far from that kind of technology here. I want to ride on board here with the 56 car and look at his point of view coming out of turn 2.
Well, let's see this. Okay, I can see where the original contact is. The arrow absolutely was the initial.
This, meanwhile, there's a check up there in front of those two, and I don't know who that was. I think it was maybe Jimmy Socks that had, like, came into turn 1 just way too deep and lost 3 spots. I'm progressively working towards, we could get to the moon. We've already put like 3 different countries there in the last, what, year and a half? I think iRacing needs to work on that telemetry. We need to start laser scanning the moon, and we'll have a 0 air race for the season finale.
So you're proposing the full scan of the moon.
Yeah. iRacing could do it. If anyone could do it, it'd be iRacing.
Okay. So first, okay, let's think about this logically. You're talking about training iRacing staff to be astronauts, first of all.
Yeah.
You're then talking about getting the iRacing scanning equipment retrofitted to be able to work in space. You're talking about retrofitting basically every bit of technology to there being 0 gravity. You're talking about needing to acquire a rocket. Is iRacing going to contract this rocket, work with NASA, or build their own rocket?
I mean, those are all great questions.
I'm
We're
not even
in
done
week
yet.
13 right now. We're in week 13, and that's when iRacing does its thing. So, first rain, next the moon. I don't know. Really
So
don't.
you're saying you want to go and scan the whole moon. How many billions are you willing to donate to this?
Man, how much Dogecoin is what you meant to say, I think.
Well, I think it would require all of it if you wanted to really do that.
Yes.
You know what we are going to do here? A restart. That we can do. And that's currently free. Richard Hurst in control once we get back going. Natural green-white checkered, however. 2 laps to go, Bradley. Hurst needs to defend all he can. He chooses the bottom again this time.
We got Biker and Cox that kind of went stagnant here, not able to really force the issue or get the run. A lot of traffic back there. I think this battle is going to be for the top 5. You've got Mulcahy here on the outside of Britain. A lot of defense going to need to be played by Hurst, and Hodges has been fast, but he hasn't really shown to me that he can get around that 21 car. Hurst has been strong on these restarts to get a good jump, and if they don't have another wreck here in the next mile and a half, Hurst could probably hold on to it.
So almost in position for the restart. Give credit to some of the drivers late making moves. Greg Spiker up to 7th. Shane Gunter back in the top 10 for the restart. Who's going to get the job done? 3 miles to go. Hurst in control. Green flag is out. Another good launch. Brennan with a good launch too. He looks to steal second.
That move on the inside, he's got to make it stick here, and 1 and 2 has been the toughest, but on this restart, the momentum is a little bit different. He's going to get the drive off, be door-to-door with Hodges down the backstretch. Hurst is running away, though. He's got 1 more set of corners to take that white flag, and look at the 34 car all up on the back bumper.
Hodges hasn't gone to victory lane yet. He's been Mr. Consistency. Can he steal this one here? 1 to go this time by. Brought to you by VRX. Hodges looking for his first win. Hurst looking to play the defense. Hodges inside, outside, used by Hurst. 1 more chance for Hodges to line things up bumper to bumper. Hodges looks, Brennan sends it for 3rd. Hodges sends it for the lead. Hurst looking for a 2nd. Hodges looking, drag race down the front. A spin for Brennan, a checkered flag for Hodges. For the first time all year, it's Christopher Hodges in victory lane as they crash into 1.
And William Britton turned around, finishes 13th. That gives Mulcahy 3rd unofficially. But Christopher Hodges edges out the front fender and has no suspension left to tell about it.
Race control has already stated post-race review for the finishing order. But there is one thing you can say. Christopher Hodges finally gets the job done. Give credit to Richard Hurst. He knows he did something wrong after the finish. Why not push into the victory lane? Why don't you?
There was a drag race coming out of turn 4. Those guys side by side. And Hodges, you made an honest man out of me tonight. Well, that phrasing's probably not the best, but I tell you what, you made the correction here. You were able to get the win, and you picked a fine time to do it with only 3 races left in this season. 2 races now when we go to Michigan. How's this car going to burn out, Justin?
Well, can you burn this car out? Like, the right front's in the ground. The whole suspension's destroyed. He's trying and he's already failed. He's trying to do something. This celebration is something, to say the very least. Nothing you can do when you can't steer the car, I guess you can say.
There you go. There you go. Get it up on the wall. Maybe lock the brakes a little. Trying to straighten it out.
So
That'll
Christopher Hodges does what he can do at this point. Just hit the wall. All that being said, real quickly, as the victory lap sees the engine expire, the butt kicker biggest mover award goes to the most positions gained post-race. Your biggest mover today? Jimmy Socks got it. Now here's a look at the finish. Hodges, words of Rick Allen, turned left on the final lap. Simple as that.
It was chaos behind him there. You had 4 or 5 different drivers work their way. There's a wreck back there. It looks like with the, I'm not sure who that is in the outside wall. But here's the move to the bottom of the racetrack. There's the 6. Oh, there is tons of things that the race review is going to have to look at here in this finish. But look at this move. This is the one right here. The drag race down the front stretch. And we're talking about just half a car across the line there.
0.038 seconds. And at that point,
You just let go of the wheel. You've done your job.
Go down lap has a lot of furious contact. What happened to William Brennan in this? Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but I want to say that maybe him and the 818 got together here.
Yeah. Right there. Race control just forwarded that the top 3 at the very least is official. What do you say to that as everyone else crashed after the finish line?
And Britain was there. I mean, the 818 just didn't lift. I don't know. I mean, you're coming up to the end of this race. But, yeah, that's just one of those situations where guys are just going for it at that point. White flag's in the air. You want that spot. So the adrenaline, the tunnel vision. If you're in the race review business right now, you've got your work cut out for you for the next probably 4 to 6 hours.
Busy time, to say the very least. But as just mentioned, your butt kicker biggest mover award, we can say, going to Jimmy Socks. Jimmy Socks finished in the top 10 unofficially. He gained 16 spots tonight, didn't get a lead lap. Was able to persevere after having so many race cars when in front of him, to the point where the paint scheme had bullet holes on it. In our words, need to be very bulletproof to be able to get the biggest mover award here tonight. With that being said, post-race interviews and your final results, we return here on V-Speed. You're watching the VRX World Cup. We'll be back after a message from our sponsors.
played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff. The motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back live at Chicagoland Speedway. Sorry about that, Justin, but we have concluded our 125 laps here tonight in the scheduled race time. The 187 miles for race number 6 of the VRX World Cup. Justin, there was a lot of fireworks there at the end, some things still pending review, but ultimately the top 3, they're locked in here for tonight.
At the very least, that is confirmed, we can say, for race control. So your top 3, unofficially, everywhere else. Hodges, Hurst, and Mulcahy are official for race control. Scott Hennings, your top 5. Wagoner, Teresa Spiker, Chivers, Cox, Sox, your top 10 here at Chicagoland in an 11 caution affair.
Casey Ellis is going to come home in 11th. Fagioni in 12th. William Britton falls all the way back to 13th, and pending review, we'll see what happens there. Jeffrey Hunter in 14th. Edward Fiedler in 15th position. Shane Gunter 16th. Chris Phillips got turned there on the backstretch. It looks like 17th tonight. Greg Pillar in 18th. Greg Spiker actually back to 19th position. He was up in the top 5 there on that restart. 20th will be Logan Watering.
21st spot this evening, David Collins, 2 laps down. Daryl Aronson in 22nd. Kuski, Richards, Daniels, Howerton, your last of those who started. Jared Epker, who took part of qualifying, did not recover from his tech issues. He did not make it to the racetrack, finished 27th as a result here tonight. So the top 3 just about getting themselves sorted here. Kevin Mulcahy finished 3rd at the time of the finish. He's currently locked into the top 3. Kevin, first things first, though, what happened on that final lap?
Oh, Will just gave me a run. I thought he was going high, so I went down low and caught his bumper and just got him sideways.
So with that being said then, talk us through the night as a whole, because it seemed like a big cluster of strategies.
Oh, it was. It was. I mean, it was 1 minute you want to do the high line, next minute you want to do the inside line. It was just door banging all night long.
So you're amongst the drivers entering tonight, looking to try and see where the position would go for the championship. Obviously, a lot to be looked at after tonight. That being said, with a few races to go, how would you describe your season with one of your best runs here tonight, your first top 5 all season?
Yeah, it's been rough this year. Last year was much better, but we're getting it together. Hopefully, the next couple of races we can keep up front.
So let's see what happens next time out in this one. Anyone you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Thrustmaster, Butt Kicker, VRX, the VRX group, all the guys, ASDR, all of them. They're all great people and great sponsors.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
All right,
Kevin,
thank you.
it's Kevin Mulcahy finishing up inside the top 3. Second spot, just by about 3/100ths. Richard Hurst. He battled hard, couldn't hold back Christopher Hodges for the final set of corners. He's with Bradley.
Yeah, Richard. I mean, I tell you that's the finish you want, though. I know you weren't on the winning end of it, but here tonight you led a lot of laps. You were in a position to win this race. You've already got one under your belt, but talk us through that last restart there with all those guys. You played defense pretty well.
Yeah, defense was definitely in my strategy there, but I wish Hodges and Britton would have gotten a little bit more racy and burned up a little bit of their stuff, so I could have so I could do a little bit of a breakaway. But that didn't quite happen as I planned it. It looks like Hodges had a little bit fresher tires than I did. But coming out of turn number 4, I gave him the bottom lane. I wanted a really good finish. I thought I had the run on that high line, but just didn't work out the way it planned. And good run for Hodges. He started off with some problems, and what a recovery by the 34. Coming back and just being there at the right place at the right time and finishing side by side. So that was a great run by the 34 machine.
Well, we were looking at the points before starting this race, and you guys finished the race where the points lie. And so this week was kind of about trying to narrow that gap with the points leader. But now the first win of the season for the 34 car, what's in stake here at Michigan when we go next week? What are you going to have to do to try to take that points lead back?
When he started having problems at the beginning of the race, we were sitting there talking in an interview pool room, and I told him, I was like, man, I was kind of cheering, hoping that your internet problem wouldn't fix itself and I'd be able to catch up in a little bit of points. But I'm glad he was able to stay in. All joking aside, I'm glad that all that straightened out and he was able to finish the race and finish where he did. But next week is going to be Michigan, so I plan on, I think we're going to see another Chicagoland. We've been pretty much running side by side all season long. Watkins Glen, we brought home a pretty good finish, at a road course. Wasn't expecting that, and I really wasn't expecting a good finish here, considering the incidents that I was involved in. But it all played in my favor, and had a good group of guys behind me, cheering me on. So, hopefully next week we can close up that gap.
Richard Hurst, you get second place here tonight. I know it stings a little bit when you're in the lead on that last restart, but is there anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight's performance?
Absolutely. I want to give a shout out to James Wagner, and Jeff Scott. We hung out in the chat. We were all, bouncing strategies off of one another, and it all played out. So big shout out to those guys. They finished pretty well. Wagner Welding, Noma TV, ASDR, and Checkfire 22, all good sponsors on the car here tonight. So, and V-Speed. Y'all put on a great show. I listen to you while I'm driving.
I don't know how you can do it. I honestly don't. I can't stand the sound of my own voice, Richard. So for you to be able to bear that for 200 miles is that's admirable in itself. But congratulations on the second place and going into the top 3 in points here as we wrap up the season.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That's Richard Hurst, second place finisher here tonight at Chicagoland. And we're going to turn it over to Justin Prince. He's down in victory lane now.
Yes, indeed. For the first time this season, Christopher Hodges comes away a race winner. Chris, how does it feel to finally get the win?
It feels like weight just got lifted off my shoulder. It's been a long time coming this season. Had second places, races get away from me, but I've stayed consistent this whole season. So I was like, well, if I can't win a race, let's just go for the championship, and that's what I've been doing. But it's in the back of your mind. You're like, hey, I need a win. I want to win, and we did it tonight. And went through a lot of adversity. First few laps, internet was going in and out. This week, I'm going to try to fix that. Something with my PC has been messing up, but I did get it fixed during the race, which I was surprised. I thought it was over by lap 5. But yeah, just I don't know what to say.
Well, what can you say about what happened on that final restart? You and Hurst, battle for the win. Talk us through it.
Well, I knew I think I had a little bit better tires than he did. So my goal was just stick with him. If I get a shot, I'm going for it. And that's what I did going into the last corner. The restart didn't go. I'm not the best restarter in the world, but Hurst did a great job regardless. It's just so hard to get a good restart. At the end of the race, tires a little bit worn. It's just so hard to get a good restart. So at least I was able to get second back. But I got down into one. Just wanted to get some clean air. Got a little bit of clean air. Was able to get pointed off to where I could get back to his back bumper, only like a half a car length or a car length behind, and just stay in his draft. And I don't know if he made a mistake or what happened, but he tried to run that middle to play defensive, and I was able to just wrap the bottom, get straight to the bottom, beautiful arc, and was able to get the inside. I was coming off the corner. I was like, is this happening? Because I've been so close so many times, and so I just stayed focused, side drafted a little bit, and just straight down the track. And at that point, I knew I had a 95% chance to beat him to the line.
So, a big night for the championship, too, because this helps with the victory, of course, to be able to help in that battle. 2 races to go. You and Hurst, the favorites. Michigan's up next. 125 laps on a 2-miler. What's going through your mind, knowing there's a lot at stake for the final 2 races, and the final, of course, being at a super speedway?
Oh yeah, definitely 2 very fast tracks. A lot can happen very quickly. So my goal is, and I'm just going to say it outright, if I can finish ahead of Hurst this next race, I can go into the last race with hopefully, I don't know where I'm at in points right now, but hopefully a 20-plus point buffer. And with how many drivers we have at the moment, unless I finish bottom 5, I can go in there and try to go get another win at Daytona. So the goal is just get as many points as I can, try to finish ahead of Hurst, and just go for it. I mean, tonight I was very conservative at some points, but played my cards right and was up there at the finish like I always am, and that's all that matters. I feel like I've ran good strategy all season, so we'll see how Michigan goes. Anything can happen. I've got a good points buffer, so if I have to finish behind him, I'm going to try to finish right behind him, because I've just got to keep that points lead. That way I can go into Daytona and not have to sit in the back like I did at Talladega. But that was my plan at Talladega. But now that I know 2 races left, I've just got to go for it, be aggressive, and but also be conservative, because I still got a championship to go try to win. So, heck, like I said, main goal is just to beat Hurst.
Any shout outs you like to give before we let you go?
Yeah, my parents, like always, huge supporters. We always sit down either on Saturdays or whenever they have time, and we rewatch the race, and they're always super supportive of me. So I give a lot of thanks to them. Mama T, like always, she's a huge supporter of mine and a huge supporter of VRX. And then just, WKU on the hat. Good luck to them in their conference tournament. Ran the WKU car. Not affiliated with WKU or anything, or going to school there, but I live in the close to Western Kentucky, so big fans of them, and hope they have a good conference tournament.
Well, congratulations once again on the run.
Yep, thank you.
That's Christopher Hodges coming away with the win tonight. What a win, what a night, Bradley, as that closes out the 1.5 miles on the schedule.
Yeah, that finishes it up. Now we're going to the big tracks. So we got Michigan up next week. We'll be tuning in here on V Speed at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you guys can join us. That'll be March 15th. So next Friday, it's the 2-mile oval up north. And we've seen some similar racing in Auto Club, but Michigan, a little bit of a different animal. The pack racing is going to be prevalent, but we've got more grooves to race on. This track very much still alive as we set up for the second to last race in the VRX World Cup. And Justin, your final thoughts here tonight before we let it go.
Well, to say the very least, strategy ended up being one of the names of the game, and in turn, Christopher Hodges, that little bit of freshness in the tires ends up being a huge difference to finally break through for victory. Next race, tires are still going to be pretty prevalent by the end of the run, but it's about track position and can you manage the draft from here on out.
Well, that'll be the case for pretty much the rest of the season. But for everybody here at V-Speed, we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast live from Chicagoland Speedway. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously. We're right up on the verge of 1,000, so anything you could do to help, that would help us out, and we would be very thankful for it. But I'm absolutely thankful for everyone at VRX and everyone at V-Speed. Adam Baker in the background doing what he does. Eddie Smith, Christian Hill, and Morgan Cook, our other producers. And I'm especially thankful for Justin Prince being up here in the booth with me all season long. But outside of that, guys, for everybody here at VRX and V-Speed, have a great weekend. We'll see you next time, and maybe tomorrow night for SNR. Take care, everybody. Have a good one.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff. The motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
comes Milo. Big run out of 4. He's going to be there.
Tristan Marty's there. Cannot count out to 37.
Oh! Cabot, where did he come from? Here comes Slack.
A push from the 33.
It's a drag race.